drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, finish for.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is the King and I Life podcast. It's your boy Soul Touch of the Poet and my brother in this joint.
Son Soul X.
Man, oh man, I'm still on sleepy time. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, hit us up. www.kingandilife.com. Got the link to our YouTube channel, social media links, videos, audio podcasts, and some selects. What else we got over there?
Oh yeah, you guys can always reach out to us at KINGANDEYE369 at gmail.com. Again, that's King and I 369 at gmail.com. Again, if you guys want to be a guest on the platform, if you have questions, concerns, if you have topics you would like for us to discuss, or if you want to just come on and chop it up with us, reach out to us. We here.
Yes, we are here. We are here. Man, it's a crazy week. I've been tired. Um, but yeah, y'all wanna hop on and chop it up with us? The link is in the chat. We're gonna be talking about the concepts of accountability in relationships tonight. This seems to be accountability overall seems to be a big topic these days. I've been seeing a lot of it in these on these other platforms. So we're gonna throw our little hand in the hat of accountability and just give our points of view on it.
For sure. So again, the concept of accountability in relationships. The dynamics of relationships are changing as fast as the latest trends or technological technological advances, but the one
Oh
constant is
God.
being able to own your actions. A lot of people shift blame to make themselves look good or accept blame when they shouldn't. In brief, accountability is a very important component in every relationship.
Yeah. It's a very important component. Man, I don't even know where to start on that because you know, I don't think that's one of those things that I was really taught coming up as far as it can. Well, let me rephrase that. Because I did hear someone on another platform say that children are the most held to accountability. And I do agree with that. But as far as relationships, I don't think that coming up, we either are not taught it in a way that we comprehend or it's not taught properly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, as a child, we're basically put on the spot and made to account for our actions. But as we get older, things change. When you come into relationships, that's something that was not taught, as far
Mm,
as like actually standing on your square and saying yes I did or no I didn't.
hmm
So that whole accountability thing is something that you basically have to learn as you go. Because as I think in my younger years, it was more like it was passive. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But as I've
hmm
grown older and understand life a little bit more, then yeah, I stand on my square and say yeah I did or no I didn't or um, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Mm. Oh man. So how do I ask this question without diving into our talking points? Um, did you have a guide so to speak? I mean, we kind of touched on it, but did you really have a guide as far as teaching you and showing you what accountability was, and you know, just how to own it when it comes to relationships, or is that something that you just grew into?
Um, I'll say I did have guides to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
um, because my uncles, again, they taught me a lot about how to handle relationships and how to deal with women.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember my Uncle Sonny would always, if I had questions, he was the first person I was going to call. And pretty much he told me, okay, so this is how you handle this. And it was always pretty much account for the decisions that you're making,
Mm-hmm.
put it out there, let it be what it is. It's on the other person if they either accept what's going on or they tell you to hell with you. But
Mm.
at least you did your part as a man and said what it was.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
So how about you?
Oh man, you know, as far as me, I think I learned along the way through relationships. I don't think I was ever given that tutelage, so to speak, when it comes to that. Um, and I know anytime that I had messed up or done something wrong or whatever, I wasn't shown or told how that looks, how accountability looks. So it was either, like in our neighborhoods, yeah, you effed up or whatever, something like that. But it wasn't nothing like, well, you need to or you should take a look at how you did this and how you handled this and where you're pointing blame and this, that, and the other. It just came later in life to where I'm like, I got to a point in my life where it was like, you know what? All right, I did it. My bad. I apologize, or whatever the case may be. But I know for a long time I used to try to excuse my way out of stuff. Um, and I know man, I know I was horrible, but I think I've gotten a lot better when it comes to that. But yeah, it's where it is with that, man.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is when it came down to relationships, meaning, you and your uh, girlfriend at the time or mate at the time, that was something, again, you pretty much had to feel your way out of. It was nice to have a reference,
Hmm.
but, sometimes it's hard to reach those references.
Yeah.
But I think, coming up how we did, let's be honest, when it came down to some things, uh, people would just put your ass on blast. Like
All the way on
you had
blast.
no other choice but to just be honest about the shit.
Right.
Because if you lied about it, they gonna put you on Front Street. I promise you.
All day. All day long, all day long. And those are times when, you know, it was all about just putting you on the spot and seeing how you gonna wiggle out of it. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think those are good lessons in learning accountability. If you didn't have too much ego and pride, um, yeah, because I know I used to try to wiggle my way out of a lot of stuff if somebody put me on the spot, and it's like, yo, what the hell? It's like now I got the angel over here and the devil over there. And devil over there, what you gonna do? Angel over like, look, just devil, what you gonna do? Like, yo, like I'm like, but I've came into my formative years into a point where I just sometimes just like, hey, I gotta fall on the sword. I just gotta fall on it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how do you define accountability?
Um, Basically, I would define that as um knowing when you right or wrong, you you express that you are aware of your actions and how they affected other people, and not shift the blame to someone else, or try to walk away from it like it wasn't a big deal, because at the end of the day you have to take into consideration how your actions affected someone else. And you know if your actions good or bad or indifferent, whatever, you just have to own it, because those are decisions that you made, and you can't make a decision and just try to throw it to the side like it wasn't you that made that decision. So I just define it briefly like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me growing up, um, I was always taught that for men, you have to be accountable for your actions. You
Hmm.
know, um, not so much as far as relationships, but just being a man of your word and
Right.
sticking to your word. And if you can, keep it. If you can't, just say you can't.
Right.
But um, again, just doing what's right at the end, calling it the way it is and not how you see it.
Hmm.
So being as truthful and upfront about it. Again, if you did do it, say you did it. If you didn't do it, say you didn't do it.
Right. Pretty much.
Or again, if you don't know what the hell going on, just simply say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But either way,
Oh man.
you gotta come up with an answer.
Yeah, but like Sheila said, own up to it. That's as simple as it can be right
Uh-huh.
there. Just
It's
own
no
up to it.
simpler than that.
Um, I think for a lot of people, um, a lot of people have a hard time doing that, and I think it's due to society and culture, mainly because that's something that we're really, really, really not taught growing up. So yeah, mm, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was strange to me though when you first started coming into, you know, the acquaintance of people who aren't as truthful and as um, forthcoming as you are, or the way you've been trained to be. Is
Hmm.
weird, at least for me, because when you blatantly see someone lying and you're like, wait a minute, now I saw you and you didn't do that. You're
Mm,
describing something completely totally the opposite of what it is you actually did. It was weird for me. Um, and again, it wasn't saying that I'm the most truthful person in all the world at my younger years, but still at the same time, it was kind of like I'd rather not go down that road, because if
hmm.
lying is going to get me out of what I think is going to get me out of, eventually it's just going to snowball into something way bigger.
Mm,
So I'd rather cut it off here at the knees than to let it get to the top of the head.
mm. Interesting, interesting, interesting. When you say that, my thing is this: everybody lies about something, and
True that.
and I always get pushed back when I say that, but everybody lies about something. I say, you show me a joker that ain't lied ever or currently in their life, and I will pull my damn spleen out and turn it into $1 million. But the thing about it is accountability when it comes to it. Like, because I always ask people this question: how do you feel about lies and thieves? People say, "Oh, I don't like lies and thieves." Nah, 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 nah. And that's this and that. I'm like, but people lie all the time. No, they don't. Like, yes, they do. You're lying to me right now by telling me people don't lie. But my thing is this: when it comes to accountability with that, don't look at it as you don't like lies and thieves. Look at it as people you don't like people who insult your intelligence, because
Right.
people who insult your intelligence usually lack accountability in some aspect of their life. And I just stand by that, because I just think that's what it is. Right. The white lies, you know.
Yep.
Um and people downplay that so much that it's like you lie so much to where you believe your lies, and that's how I look at the white lies. um so my thing again, if As long as you don't insult my intelligence, we good. But that comes with someone having accountability for their words and their actions. And that's it at the end of the day. And it's like, you just gotta own that.
Yeah. And my thing is, the people who lie and then they are so convinced in their mind that they're telling the truth
Hmm.
that they will do anything to protect that lie.
Yeah.
Meaning, I'm not going to take accountability for that at all. I'm just going to lie. And I know you know that I'm lying, but I'm going to
Hmm.
stick to this lie because I'd rather do that than take accountability.
Hmm.
I mean, they be in tears, snot rolling out their nose, and
Oh my God.
everything.
They be performing like they about to get a Grammy. And it's like, yo, just own your shit. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, yeah.
That simple. Um, yeah. So, so we define accountability. What personality traits do you think are key in accountability?
Oh man, that one's kind of hard to say. Some people go by your birth sign.
Mm,
I can't say if that's necessarily true or not, but um, I don't know. To me, it's kind of like I base people's character more off of their actions than
mm-hmm.
their words,
Right.
and that's I guess I have to base that off of accountability as well,
Mm,
because a friend will or some friends will tell you, yeah, I got your back, or I'll be there for you. And then when, a certain situation happens, they're not there. And then you be calling them, or, the next time you see them, like, what happened to you? Oh, man, so and so and so and so happened. But again, it's not like you're saying, my bad, I dropped the
mm,
ball. So it's kind of like they still refuse to take accountability.
mm.
So again, I base it more or less off of your actions than um, your personality trait.
Well, for me, some personality traits that I know, think, feel are key to accountability are honesty, um, integrity, uh, loyalty, um, compassion, empathy, things along those lines. Because um, accountability takes an honest person. It takes a compassionate person. It takes a person with integrity. Um, because a person who struggles with those personality traits is
Right.
definitely going to struggle with accountability. Um, and accountability is not only taking responsibility of bad actions or unfavorable actions, but it's also good actions. It's whatever you do, you own that shit, and you don't push it off on other people because hey, these were your choices. No one held a gun to your head and say, hey, this is what you better do. Um, but those are just a few personality traits that I feel like are key to accountability.
Yeah, I mean they definitely help because when you're in a relationship with someone, um, and certain situations will happen where you will need that person to be honest with you.
Hmm.
And if they do everything except for, just be upfront with you or, outright tell you what the truth is, that part really shows you, part of their personalities.
Hmm.
Whether they're going to be someone who's really going to ride and die for you or someone who's only going to be there with you during the good times.
Yeah.
Because I think life will naturally bring you certain situations. You don't necessarily have to look for them, but
Hmm.
they'll naturally come to you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, So why do people sometimes hold others accountable but don't hold themselves accountable?
That goes back to them personality traits. Some people just do not have the integrity to hold themselves accountable, and they push it on off on other people. And they, honesty, they're not honest with themselves. So if they're not honest with themselves, you can't expect them to be honest with others most of the time. But then again, that's a slippery slope because somebody can be honest to themselves and dishonest to others, or honest to others and dishonest to themselves. I mean, people are dynamic creatures out here. Um, as much as we know and can know about people professionally, personally, emotionally, scientifically, or whatever, you just never, ever, ever really know what exactly makes a person go into the state of holding others accountable and not themselves, other than something ain't right with that person, regardless of what it is. And I think it's easier, and that's a part of shift and blame. It's easier to blame other people for certain things than to say, you know what, that was on me. So that's why I feel like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way I look at it is this: I'm at an age now where I trust people to be who they are.
Oh yeah.
So when someone I know for a fact has a problem, being honest, they're considered a liar.
Mm,
So if you're a liar, that's how I see you, as someone. You might have a good heart, but you'll lie.
mm,
There might be someone who's a thief. You recognize this person as a thief.
mm,
So it kind of goes back to you want them to, be accountable for their own actions.
mm,
But at the end, you have to recognize the people that you're dealing with, I feel.
mm,
So if I know you're a liar, I just accept the fact that you're a liar.
mm,
So, if I fall for your lie, then it's kind of on me to a certain extent
mm.
because I recognize from the start you're a liar.
All right.
Um, but there are times when I, ask myself, am I being honest with myself? I mean, literally look in the mirror like, damn, am I being honest about that? Or I'll be driving like thinking, damn, am I being honest with myself about that?
Oh man.
And it's kind of like one of those things of, again, like you said, if you can't be honest with yourself, how can you be honest with someone else?
Right.
So that's just one of those things. For me, it goes by a person to person, situation to situation case.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Um, the funny thing about that is when it comes to that, to a degree, when you are questioning your accountability and all the factors that play into it with yourself, people always have their own interpretation of what you being accountable looks like.
Right.
And I think that is an interesting aspect because people don't exactly know what's going through your head and in your heart, uh, in your gut, when in situations where you have to hold yourself accountable for something. Um, People just don't know, and they can jump to all kind of conclusions and throw their perspective on your thought process and your analysis of a situation. And in some cases, they make you question your accountability, your integrity, and all that to a situation. And it's like,
Right.
if you don't recognize that, then you can get caught up in their nonsense and feeling like, damn, whatever. And then you kind of sometimes alter the way you look at a situation, whereas you probably would have been holding yourself accountable, but because they threw something in there or whatever the case may be, they might throw you off your axis and you be like, man, all right, whatever.
True that.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there a gender disparity? Disparity, sorry, in terms of accountability.
That's a tricky one. I'm going to say yes, but it's tricky because I'm a step out on a limb and say a lot of times men have trouble being accountable. But then there are a lot of situations where women have trouble being accountable. Um, and it often comes up in situations where there's this whole notion that women lie better than men. Um, I was watching a video on my way to work this morning, and they were talking about um, a topic that we had about how men, well, the topic was pretty much about should women or could women be honest if they cheated on a man? And, you know, the conversation kind of went in a whole it went in the weeds. But the thing about it was the women were saying they would not be honest because the men couldn't handle it. And the guys was like, what?
Yeah,
But that should not be a reason for you to not be accountable for your actions just because someone can't handle it. And there's myth out there that we would rather a woman lie to us about something like that than tell us the truth because it would hurt our egos and stuff like that. Needless to say, at the end of the video, one of the young ladies said, ladies, if you out there and you cheating, you bet not tell. You bet not confess. If you get even if you get caught, you bet not confess. Even if he came with evidence, you bet not confess. And then she came back around and said, if you out there cheating, just stop, leave the dude alone, go back to your man and make things better. And I'm like, what kind of mind
yeah,
trick of accountability
that's
is
some
that?
Jedi shit right there.
Right. And that falls in line with what I was saying about people insulting your intelligence. It's like if somebody knows you're doing something, don't don't try to weasel your way out of it and not be accountable because it's going to hurt their feelings. Because at the end of the day, when it's found out that you insulted person's intelligence and you went on and on and on and on and wasn't holding yourself accountable, it's like that makes it even worse. And on top of it, that's one of those things that women get on men about. Like if you get caught, be accountable. Just hey, own it instead of trying to dance around it because it's like by the time you caught, and it's like
Right.
there's really no backing out of it. So just be accountable for it. But I just found it amazing that she said that because it's like women want men to be accountable for their actions, but women shouldn't be because it's going to hurt a man's feelings. And that just blew my mind.
Yeah, that math right there. That's that silly math, as George Bush would say.
Right.
That's that funny math. That don't make any sense right there.
It doesn't. It
Um,
doesn't.
I don't know. In the words of Jody,
Mm.
I lied or I lie to you because I love you and I want to protect your feelings. I tell them the truth because I don't give a fuck about them.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. That's an accountability math trick right there.
Yeah, exactly.
um,
Um,
but
but all
I think there
seriousness,
is a disparity though. I think I don't know. It's shifting out there. I think men for the longest time were less accountable than women, but I think it's shifting. What is your take on that whole thing?
um, I think it depends on the lie, really.
Hmm.
Meaning, um, when it comes down to a man saying, "No, I never slept with her. No, I didn't split her wig,"
Mm-hmm.
knowing damn well he did, that's a lie.
Right.
Well, just take it up a notch. A woman talking about, "Yeah, that's your baby," knowing damn well that's not your baby.
Or she has no clue at all.
Yeah, there's certain level to the lies.
Mm.
So, I mean, either way you look at it, a lie is a lie. I don't care a damn who's telling it or what degree or what level is on. But when you're caught at the end of that lie, who's going to be man enough or woman enough to go ahead and just be honest about it? Because it's kind of like a lot of people love to damn kick the lie down the road like a can. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I'm going to keep kicking this motherfucker until I can't kick it anymore. Until it's just, there's nothing left to kick.
Mm.
And they'll take you around a whole dang city block when you only really need to go next door or a street over.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as being accountable, man, is again, I think it depends on the situation and what the person is being dishonest about. Sometimes it's just best to go ahead and state the truth and go and get it over with. And then there are other times where they know the outcome is going to be so devastating to them
Mm-hmm.
that they're like, nope, damn, taking accountability for that because that's going to set me back. And again, that's part of the ego right there saying, well, let's not take this hit right here. We'll
Right.
leave this hit for something else or a later date.
Mm.
But
That's funny. Because when I look back at a lot of things that either I've been a part of myself as a guilty person or innocent person, or observed certain situations, it always seemed that men were more fearful to be accountable, and women had seemingly felt like they were um, accountable by default. And I also saw that it's all in the way that it was being worded or not worded.
right,
Um, you know, women felt like that I've seen in some cases that because they give you a piece of the truth or as much truth as they think you can bear, they felt like they were being accountable. And I'm not talking about them talking to just men. I'm just talking in general, even with their girlfriends or whatever the case may be.
right.
Um, I think when it came to, or even comes to, men dealing with each other, it's easier for men to be accountable amongst each other than it is towards women or even figures of authority. I could be wrong, but I mean, that's just how when I look back over time, that's just how I assess that.
I would agree with that. I mean, because the thing about it is, I think, and I'm not saying this for all men, but some men, they rather not think about it in the long term.
Mm.
So let's take it for example. If I was to hit somebody's car while they weren't in the parking lot, I'm the type of person I'll just pull over, either wait for them or try and go find them.
Mm.
Because in the long run, if I was to leave that situation, who's to say there's not a camera out there
Mm.
who would capture my tag, or someone actually saw me do it and wrote down my tag information, all that. That's just too damn much.
Mm.
I'd rather just go ahead and face the consequences than, hey, it was an accident. Let's make it right. But
Mm.
then there are some people who are just like, well, hell with that. I don't give a damn if they do got my tag on camera. I'm not finna take accountability, even though I messed up somebody else's car. The hell with
Mm.
that. So, I mean, it's hard to say which sex would actually be more upfront about it. Um, Again, some people would say men, and some people would say women. I don't know. It's that one's a hard one.
You know, funny story about that. Um, with that example that you use. So my son was stationed at Fort Lewis in Washington State,
Mhm.
and I think he was gone for training. And his wife at the time had the car. She did exactly what you were just talking about. Hit somebody's car. Instead of being accountable for the situation, she decided to dip out on the scene.
Wow.
Like dip out on the scene. Not only, and this is the story that I got secondhand, not only did she dip out on the scene, but she dipped out and hid the car that she was driving.
Oh wow.
Um, and made up this lavish lie or whatever the case may be. I want to attribute that to youth, but I just don't know if I could just chalk that up to just basic stupidity. Because if your spouse is in the military and you do something like that, you just messing up all the way around. But come to find out, I don't think they had insurance. So it's like at what that makes me sit back and say, at what point do you learn how to take accountability for your stupidity? Because that situations like that, when you are not accountable for for what you do, they can be more costly than being accountable up front. And I just don't get it. I don't
Yeah.
get it.
That was not the smartest decision ever to make.
Yeah. And another thing that I think about, because when I first moved out here, I was what, 20? Well, I don't fucking remember. 95. And I was hanging out around here. I noticed that when a lot of the young girls messing with these knucklehead dudes, they would take accountability for the dude's actions and get themselves in messed up situations. And it's like, why are you owning their shit and they don't even give a damn? And it's like, again, I look at that and I be like, at what in your upbringing, one, caused you to even live in that headspace, and two, think it's okay to allow someone else to take accountability for your bad actions, putting them in the bad place, and you just don't care. I don't understand stuff like that. At this age, I don't understand it.
Yeah. And again, not trying to throw shots at the younger generations, but it's just different.
Mm.
I'll put it to you like that. It's different with the younger generation, I feel. That's
It is
not
different.
all of them. That's not all of them.
No,
Trust
not all of them, but you know, I think social media plays a part in it to an extent because um, I know we used to have situations to where we gravitated towards what peers were doing, that peer pressure stage and this, that, and the other.
me. Right.
Now you see how reckless some of these younger entertainers are, and some of the older ones, you see how reckless they are, and they don't take accountability for their actions. And now these people of today, I can't say just the younger ones,
Right.
but These people of today are trying to do the same damn things and not taking accountability for it. They're blaming everything else and everybody else and not taking accountability for what they're doing.
So let me ask you this then. Do you think money plays a role in accountability? Meaning someone who comes from a more wealthier background or family, do you think they're honestly going to do what's right or what's bringing accountability for themselves, or they just let their money do the talking?
I guess it depends on. I guess that would depend on how they were brought up, or let's just say if you were a spoiled rich kid and you all were taught directly or indirectly that money can buy you out of whatever, a lot of times those individuals do not take accountability for what they do and say. They let their money talk for them. Um, and then when you shift to these times now, um, I think some of them, when they run into money, come into money, a lot of money, fast money, they feel like they're entitled to do certain things and not be accountable for them. Um, and that has kind of rubbed off on today's society, culture, however you want to look at it. And they feel like they can do the same things that they can do. And then when it comes to accountability, they got an attitude because they can't get away with it the same way those people with money can do. And it's like, you need to really sit back and check yourself, because if you make certain decisions, you got to own them. Um, and it could be the smallest things that people don't want to be accountable for. Um, like one of the things that kind of burns me up is when people exhibit bad behavior and they have to reap the um reap what you sow. They want to blame a whole bunch of things on it instead of just sitting back and being like, yeah, I messed up. um One of the things that comes to mind is growing up around people who drink a lot, do drugs, and this, that, and the other, and totally just mess up their lives. Um, I always say I didn't have the best upbringing, but it blows my mind that people can sit there, and at this time, it's like in late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, people are literally blaming their parents or other people for stuff. And it's like, you made the choice to do the things that you're doing, and you just can't, for whatever reason, be accountable for how your life is going. um and then when you look at the things that you do and how they affect other people, you don't want to be accountable for how your actions negatively impact someone else. And you're always just on this blame circle, and it's just like, at what point are you going to stop and say, this is on you? It's just mind blowing.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Um, the thing about it, I think, again, like you say, it goes back to how you were raised. Uh, I've seen plenty of people who come from a well-to-do family
Hmm.
just blow off anything dealing with accountability. Just
Mm,
not gonna do it.
right.
But then there are some other people who don't come from such, a background um, where everything was basically given to them,
Mm,
where they're more willing to take accountability for their actions than um, someone who, let's say, comes from the opposite side of the tracks.
hmm.
again, that was back then. I think now it's kind of like how you're saying that because of social media and all these other outlets, people are not as willing to be as, truthful about certain things, especially when it comes down to taking, accountability for their own actions.
Hmm.
Again, it's anybody's and everybody else's fault besides theirs. They're not gonna do it. Even when you got them caught red-handed, they still just
Hmm.
refuse to take accountability for what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mind blowing. It's mind
Not
blowing.
remorseful about it, or they're not sorry. It just right, cause of so
Yeah.
and so and so and so. That's why I did that. What?
Yeah. I don't, sometimes I just don't understand it because sometimes it's just mind blowing to me. Um, and at some point in your life, you just gotta be accountable for your bullshit. Just to be
Right.
blunt, um, it, especially when you get to a certain goddamn age, it's like, yo, at what point do you be a man or a woman and just stand on your principles, on your morals? Where's your integrity? Um, you know, it's just crazy. So let's that takes us to the next one. Do you think people misplace? Do you think people confuse misplaced blame with accountability? Meaning, um, people will blame other people for something, making them feel bad instead of being accountable for their actions.
Yeah, I think they do. Um, like the situation I was telling you about earlier, where I had to stop and question myself. I had a situation where, well, I won't describe what happened, but I'll just simply say it was one of those things that instead of me saying, this is my fault, I should have did a better job as far as doing my research on this particular topic. I wanted to blame someone else.
Hmm.
So again, me driving and thinking about it, I'm like, well, damn, do I really like this? I can't really blame them. This is if I would have did a better job, you know, doing my own research instead of taking someone else's word, then this shit never would have happened.
Mm. Yeah,
So it's kind of like it was so easy for me to put blame on someone else, but in all actuality, the shit was on me.
yeah,
So I think it is easier for you to want to blame someone else.
mm.
It lets you be or let them be the scapegoat.
Right.
It's like because you didn't do what you're supposed to have done, it's easier just to say it's someone else's fault.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that's funny because again, I know a lot of people who will do that, and they actually are looking for you to be like sympathetic to their nonsense. And it's like, yo, but you're not taking accountability for what you are doing or what you have done. It's like it's not that hard to be accountable for your own actions. And they will do and say everything to shift the blame to somebody else. And some people who have sympathetic hearts or whatever the case, overly sympathetic hearts, and they buy into it, they start feeling bad because this person is really like pouring it on. And it's like, yo, nobody is telling you to live your life this way, but you're choosing to live your life this way. And yet you're not, when things go bad, go left, go right, whatever the case may be, you are nowhere around to account for your actions. And it's just mind blowing because it's like people are not dumb. And I just, for, you know, well, let me say, people are not stupid. They dumb, but they're not stupid. Um, and I know it's not politically correct to call people stupid, but people just do some stupid shit. And it's like, you know that the outcome of what you are doing could be X, Y, and Z. Why are you doing that? Oh, because this, oh, because that, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, but you know what you are doing is not good. And it's like, why don't you just sit there in that and make the changes? And some people will push back and be like, well, when I do this and I do that, I feel like everybody's doing this to me. And it's like, but you're still not doing right. At what point are you going to do right? And it could be the smallest thing that can redirect the outcome of whatever you are doing. And it's like they don't want to own it. And it's like, yo, stop shifting the blame. It's like for me, for the longest time, if I would have kept on the path that I was on in my 20s and blaming my mother, the absence of my father, and this, that, and the other, I would be just like a lot of those people out there. But it was like I got to a point where it's like, you know what, I gotta sit back and look at what I'm doing because, you know, whatever influence my mother had on me is long gone. Like,
Right.
I'm not under her roof. I'm not under her rules. I'm not under her guidance or misguidance. And for as far as my father, it's like, you know, joke ain't never been there. So I can't say whatever he did or did not do, or his presence or his absence has an influence on whatever I'm doing or going through. These are choices that I made. Now, you know, people can come up with a whole bunch of different excuses as to why I am the way I am. And you know, oh, you're strong, this is you're it's like, no. At some point I have to realize that the shit that I do, it has a direct outcome on what happens with me. I
Right.
can't, it's not strong, it's just common sense. Be accountable for your actions. Don't shift blame, and there it is.
Exactly. It don't get any plainer than that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, I just sometimes I just don't get it. Um, but yeah, I don't get it sometimes.
So does forgiveness play a role in accountability?
It does. It has to. Um, and I say that because if you can't forgive yourself or other people, then you're not being accountable for how you react to certain things. And that's something that I had to learn. I really had to learn that because again, when I was talking about you the absence of my father and stuff like that, and it's like when you hold on to certain things for certain people, when you hold, no matter what it is, when you hold on to certain things that has happened in your life, and it doesn't matter what it is, you have to come to a point of either forgiving yourself for either doing what you did or how you're handling it, how you're processing it. And then you also have to have a bit of forgiveness for other people so that you can internalize and compartmentalize the what the situation and really think through it. That way, you know, let's just say something happens to you. Let's just say you overreact to it. um you have to leave room for forgiveness so that you can have rational thoughts about it. You have to sit back and be like, yo, let me think about this. And you know, You be accountable for your part in it. Um, and I know that we're talking about in relationships, you also have to allow that person to be accountable for their part in it. And I think that's another part of the puzzle that kind of gets tricky, because we can't force someone to be accountable for their actions. We have to give them that space to to do that on their own.
Right. Um, thing about it is, like you said, you just gotta give people space, meaning an open floor. Say what's on your mind. Let's just get it out in the open instead of trying to treat it like the elephant in the room. I will say, me like you, I got to a place in my life where a lot of the things that happened to me as a younger person, I just got tired of blaming everyone else.
Mhm.
Like, again, I didn't have the best childhood, but I didn't certainly have the worst childhood.
Right.
Um, I wish things were better or different while I was growing up, but they were what they were. So, again, when it came down to certain relationships, I wanted to blame people and say, "Why? If you would have did this for me or did that for me, then I would be a better person, or I
Mhm.
uh, would know how to handle things better."
Mhm.
When in all actuality, as a young man, I think those of us who are responsible, you'll get
Yeah.
to a place where you'll be like, you know what? I can't blame anyone else anymore.
Right.
I have to be the one who uh, stop my actions and change, the person that I am. Because
Mhm.
if you are the type of person that you're growing and you don't like the kind of person you are, again, it's so much easier to blame everybody around you, or to blame your parents or your aunties or uncles or whatever that may have happened to you in your past.
Mhm.
Blame it on that.
Right.
And again, I think that that's just another scapegoat for you saying, I don't want to be a responsible person, meaning I don't want to be responsible for myself and my own actions.
Mhm.
So, but once you learn that lesson of being able to be accountable for, how you're moving throughout your life, meaning whether you're an honest person or a fair person, or you try to live your life in a certain way, again, that falls back on you. You
Mhm.
have to take accountability for that. So that starts with you forgiving yourself, and then moving on to forgive the people uh, who may have affected your life at different points
Mhm.
throughout the course of your life. Like, you
Right.
can't keep blaming people for the rest of your goddamn life for the action that you're taking. That doesn't make any sense to me.
So let me throw this question at you,
All right.
because this is a question I know that we have tackled from time to time, and it's also something that I see a lot on these other platforms.
Mhm.
How do you think, as a culture, what role do you think past trauma plays on our accountability for just holding ourselves accountable for stuff?
Um, because we've, as a culture, been through so much BS within the confines of this nation, I feel like to a certain degree, we we feel better about blaming other people for our circumstances,
Mhm.
i.e., blaming a government, or blaming a white man, or blaming this man or that man, blaming everybody again except for ourselves.
Mhm.
And I think that's part of the reason why we're in the situation we're in now, because a lot of us within our culture just refuse to accept the fact that we're here in the circumstances or the situation we're in now because we don't want to take accountability for
Mhm.
our own communities and our own actions.
Right.
I mean, again, I feel like within our culture, we're just going around in the same circle on certain things over
Mhm.
and over again. It's like, and a big part of that is because we refuse to take accountability for our own actions in our communities.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel the same way. You know, and it kind of it angers me a bit because one of the things that I look at is a lot of our people in our culture, they take on trauma indirectly. And I mean, I'm talking about stuff that like because we as a people went through something 400 years ago, they feel like that's embedded in their DNA to have trauma from it. And, you know, I look at the stuff that I've been through in my life, and it's like, I don't see what has happened to us as a culture for however long being a catalyst to me not being accountable for my actions today. Um, and a lot of people say, well, you're strong this and you're strong that. But it again, it boils down to the choices that you choose to make. Everybody has a choice, whether you think you do or you don't, whether you are oppressed or not, whether you feel like you don't have options or you do. I just, I don't know. I just think that people need to just own up for certain things because trust me, I've heard people say, "Oh, the police bothering me, this they," but it's like you driving around on a suspended license. What do you expect them to do? Pat you on the ass and let you go? Like no. Um, oh well the government is taking my money and this that and others like well when's the last time you filed your damn taxes or paid your child support you know um or oh they coming to repossess my car they tripping it's like well did you pay your car note like be accountable for your stuff and stop blaming it on everything else oh the system it's like do you even operate within the system for you to be blaming the system? It's like if you're not even following basic rules, you're not being accountable for not following basic rules. How are you blaming everything else and then making it this whole systemic thing and saying, oh, we've been through this and we've been through that? And it's like, that doesn't affect you directly. It's like you have a choice. Granted, we have a lot of situations in our households, in our communities, in our families that may play a part in some of that. But
Right.
at the end of the day, you need to pull your damn drawers up, hold your head high, and act like you got some damn common sense. Like if you are surrounded by a group of people and you the only one fucking up and blaming everything else, but everybody else is thriving. It's like, what are you actually blaming? Like, I don't get it. Um, and like I know both of us you come from the South, I'm from the North, and I know for sure we know people who blame everything on something else. But it's like I grew up in the neighborhoods I grew up in where I grew up, and you grew up in the neighborhoods where you grew up around the people you grew up. And it's like for me, I wasn't the best student in school, class, or whatever the case may be, but I'm not stuck blaming other people for anything. I've found a way to get myself out of shit and progress in life. And it did not come at the expense of not taking accountability. So for a lot of people, I just do not get it. And some of them people grew up a lot better than you and I.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it's kind of like one of those situations. For example, you're driving a car, right? For whatever reason, your car get wrecked. Whether someone pulled out in front of you, someone hit you from the back, someone hit you from the side, whatever the case may be. But when you get out of your car from being in an accident, you look at your car, it may be total. You're standing here saying, my car is total. You totaled my car. But then after a while, all that fades back and your insurance like, well, we'll give you a new car or so and so and so and so. But you're still talking about that same situation. Well, they wrecked
Mhm.
my car. At some point, you got to freaking get over it, man.
Right.
You got to get over it and move on, because if you
Oh,
keep
man.
finding yourself still talking about that dang car and how someone else ran you off the road or hit your car, you're not going to move forward.
At
And I
all.
think that's kind of like how some of the people within our community are. They just refuse to let go of what happened to us in the past. And I'm not saying we should forget it,
Hmm.
but what I am saying is at some point you got to move on.
Yeah.
You ain't got to forget it. It happened. Be aware of it. Don't forget it, but just watch how you move in the future. That's what I'm saying. You're just not going to get anywhere by standing there talking about this goddamn car and
Yeah.
how this was the best car you ever had, or how somebody ran you off the road, man. Just, you got to let go at some point.
You just got to. You got to. Um, so can you hold yourself accountable for good and bad behavior? What say ye?
I think you can. I think you should. Um, Again, I've found myself in situations where I've acted badly or acted in a inappropriate way, and later on, I found myself like, "Damn, that's fucked up what you did, bro."
Hmm.
Or, "Damn, you could have handled that differently." So I had to go back and apologize to people, for some of the things I've done. Like for years and years, some of the fucked up shit I did, like way, way back when, and I sit back and think about it even now and be like, damn, that's fucked up.
Right.
And those I can't apologize, I do apologize to. Those I can't, then I apologize and just let it be what it is to the universe. You know what I mean?
Two
But
tears in a bucket.
I definitely think that we have to hold ourselves accountable for, bad and good behavior.
Hmm.
Because a lot of good behavior or the good things that you do don't necessarily mean you're going to get a good reaction from it. Meaning
Yeah.
your heart was in the right place, but people just didn't accept it the way that you thought they should accept it
Yeah.
or see it.
Yeah. I agree. Because at the end of the day, it's a decision that you made. So if and the thing about it is, I think some people have trouble coming to terms with that because they feel like their bad decision was intentionally bad. Um, and it's not the case all the time. Now, if you just out there doing bad shit and you can't own up to it, then that's a problem. But sometimes you make a decision and the outcome comes out bad and you don't want to own it because you don't want to be embarrassed, your pride or whatever the case may be, but it's not something that you set out to intentionally do. It just happened to yield bad results. So it's like just
Right.
be accountable for it. What's the worst that can happen? You explain what your thought process was and whatever the case may be and how you thought it was going to come out, and that's the best you can do. Um and I say this because there have been times where I made decisions where the outcome was bad, and it's like I felt bad in a way because it's like, damn, I made the decision. It's messed up. I'm gonna catch hell this, catch hell that. But at the end of the day, it's like my intent was not for this to turn out this way. I
Right.
thought I was, doing things in according to how it would come out good, but it didn't. But at the end of the day, hey, I gotta accept the decision that I make because you're not always going to do things right. And I think you have to leave room for yourself to make mistakes. Um, and again, when you think about good and bad, you can't always think about the worst. And I think a lot of people get caught up in bad being you intentionally did something wrong. But again, if you intentionally do something wrong, just own up to it. If you make a decision and it come out bad, just own up to it. Again, at the end of the day, what is the worst that could happen? Somebody might be mad at you. Somebody might even curse you out. Somebody may
Hmm.
even say kiss you, tell you to kiss their ass. But at the end of the day, as long as you was accountable for your actions, good, bad, or indifferent, that's to me, that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can remember a time when I was a kid, right? My dad had brought home this special chrome tape,
Mm,
and I have not seen this type of chrome tape since then. But anyway, it was so unique and so cool to me. I was like, well, let me do something with this.
mhm,
So this is back when you had VHSs and all that
mm,
video cassette tapes. So I decided to take this tape and write the name of the movies on the tape.
ooh,
Me, I'm thinking I'm doing something good.
mm.
But when he got home and saw,
He want the
so I had to use
finest
all
money.
that tape. Let's just say he was not the most happiest camper in the
Mm,
world. Um, so again, I had the right intentions. My heart was in the right place, but that tape he had um, other intentions with it.
mm,
He had a special reason for collecting that tape. And
mm.
again, from that day to this one, I have not seen that kind of tape before. So that's just how unique it was at the time.
Wow. Woo.
Yeah,
Mm, mm.
I got an earful, but
I'm
eventually he
sure
calmed down.
you did. I am sure you did get an earful on that one, boy. Back in them days, things was
Yeah.
at a premium. Shoot. Mm.
So, what do you do if your significant other blatantly disregards accountability?
Um, I would say depends on what they do, but I would that would deteriorate whatever relationship we had, and I would expect that to be a two-way street if I was to blatantly disregard accountability. Um, but yeah, if my significant other were to blatantly disregard accountability, I would have to look at them differently because it's like I see you just doing this or acting like this or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to take accountability for it. I'm like, then do I mean anything to you? Does this mean anything to you? Like, where's your head at with this? I need to understand what the disconnect is when it comes to you taking accountability. And if you cannot, for whatever reason, help me understand the logic, the thought process, and all of that behind it, then I don't know, man.
Yeah, um, it's kind of hard to get over it when someone they're deliberately not taking accountability for their actions. Like I had a friend of mine, his girlfriend effed up his rim, brand new set of rims, and she scuffed the she scuffed the hell out of his front passenger rim.
Mm,
And he was asking her, he was like, "Man, what happened to my rim?" And she's like, "I don't know."
mm,
And he was like, "Do you see this? You cannot sit up here and tell me you don't know what the hell happened to my rim." I don't know. I don't know how that happened. You sure you
Mm,
didn't do it?
mm,
But anyway, he was totally, oh man, he went through a whole range of emotions over these
mm,
rounds. But when you have someone you know is just blatantly not telling the truth, it's hard not to, look at them the same way. Cause it's like
mm,
if you deny, that you did this or not take accountability for this, what else will you lie to me about or not, be truthful about? So
mm.
it's again one of those things that definitely make you look at that person differently, and it's kind of hard not to look at them differently when they do something like that so blatantly.
Bruh. The only reason why it hurts so bad when you're talking about rims is because I've been through rims in my lifetime. And I look back now, it's a small thing, but in principle, it's like, yo, you scuffed my rim up against the curb, parking, turning, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not being accountable for what you did. It's like now every time I go polish these rims and I get to this rim, I'm taking my cloth and it's getting caught up and the fibers are coming across
Yep.
off and I'm looking at this rim and thinking that you did this and you could not even be accountable for your actions.
Exactly.
Again, I look back at it now and it's a small thing. But back then, it's like, yo, that is something that you damn near sometimes, in some cases, had to replace all four rims.
Yep.
And it's like, as much as it hurts, and as much as you think I can't handle the truth, just be like, yo, I hit a curb. All right, cool. It still hurts, but it's like little things that you can't be accountable for. And it's the blatant thing right there. It's that blatancy. And yeah, it's like if you can't even be accountable for my rim, and it's that small of an issue. And the funny thing is, this is what women get on men about when it comes to being accountable. It's so little. And it's like if we don't be accountable for that little thing, it gets so blown out of proportion. And we're looking like, yo, why you tripping? It's like first it was this small, and because you couldn't be accountable, now it's this big.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one of them things. So is lack of accountability a deal breaker for you?
I hate to say it, but it is, man. It's a big deal breaker for me.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And the reason I feel like that is because if I'm investing my time, my money, my energy, the whole bag on you, including myself, and then you refuse to take accountability for your own actions
Mm,
in certain situations, it's like, come on, man, we too old for that shit, right?
mm,
We too grown for that. We are not in high school. We are not in damn middle school or kindergarten or college even. We out here in the real world. So when someone just refuse to take accountability, I can't fuck with you.
mm,
I hate to be like that, but here's where we stop. Here's where one of us get off of this damn bus.
mm.
Both of us can't stay on here.
So let me ask you this. Um,
How about you?
wait, let me ask you this question before I answer.
All right.
At what point is lack of accountability a deal breaker? And I asked that because we talked about representatives a while back.
Yeah.
So once you get past that representative stage and you are invested and this person lacks accountability, when does that become a deal breaker, and what is your reaction to that?
I guess it would depend on what the situation is.
Oh shit.
Um, I guess the major three things for me is don't mess with my money,
Mm.
don't mess with my family, and don't fuck me over.
What if, but it's your
Not in
significant
those
other.
particular order, you know what I mean?
But it's your significant other.
Exactly. So if she crosses the line on either one of those, it's gonna be a problem, man. Unfortunately, that's gonna be a problem we're not gonna be able to resolve except for the, go our own damn ways.
Mm. Mm.
And I hate to be so blunt about it, but again, at this age in my life, I don't have time for tolerance when it comes down
Mm.
to certain things. I'd rather just let you go your way and you be happy. I go my way and I be happy. And that's just the end of it, man.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah.
How about you?
Lack of accountability is a deal breaker. Um, because like if you can't own your nonsense, then we got a problem. We got a serious problem. Um, because you and the funny thing about it is, as we said before, people will hold you accountable, but they won't hold themselves accountable for stuff. And it's like if you lack accountability and you always blaming me for something, we always gonna go around in this circle of nonsense. And I'm not riding that train. I'm
Right.
just not gonna ride that train. And if you can't be accountable, it's like, yo, like what is our purpose here? Because it's like if you mentioned money, if she's messing up the money, and I come to her and be like, yo, what's up? And she's not being accountable for it, it's like I can't deal with you because you can't be accountable for what you're doing. So you have no value to me at that point. You
Right.
know, it's that eats into the trust, the confidence, and all of that. Um, and then um, when it comes to a significant other and they lack accountability, I forgot exactly how I worded it, but um, you got to go. You just got to go. You just have to go. Um, now, okay, so if we just get together and you're not showing accountability, there's a grace period there, a
Right.
small grace period, and that small grace period is we're gonna have a few conversations if I see you not being accountable for whatever you're doing. Now, if you can't get that together, then we cannot proceed further. Now, if we get to the point where we are invested to a degree in each other, whether it's time or whatever, and you start doing that, um, and there's nothing wrong with my ejection seat. Um, there's nothing.
Double with seven.
Look at it. Remember on Top Gun where the plane was spinning around, it was falling out the sky.
Uh huh.
I ain't nothing wrong with my ejection sheet. I'm out. I'm out like that. I'm out like that, like that, like that.
Dang it.
Um, because I tell people a lot of times I'm not arguing. I'm just not doing it. So can't, if you lack accountability and we get into a situation, I'm gonna fall back and let you have your space. I'm not gonna argue with you. But if this persists, then I gotta look. I'm done. Because yeah, if I have to argue with you about it, that means I'm wasting valuable uh units off of my life force. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm not doing that at all.
I don't know. For me, it's like if someone's just refuses to take accountability, that's just same as lying, saying I refuse to tell the truth.
Mm,
I refuse to tell the truth. Even though you caught me red handed, even though all the evidence is present, I'm just not gonna own up to my bullshit. I'm not gonna do it.
mm,
So at that point, I don't have time for it, man. I'd rather let you and your bullshit go, and I'll take my situation and keep moving on.
mm. Yeah, yeah, I
So,
feel
how do
you.
you encourage accountability in relationships?
Um, you have to create that atmosphere. It comes with honesty, communication, compassion, empathy. It comes with a whole bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, a person has to have that with them. Um, they have to come into it. Both parties have to come into it with that. Um, you also have to be. You have to be in a place in your life where you're not afraid to be vulnerable and open to that person. You have to, again, you have to communicate, because if you have a nice open line of communication, then um that encourages accountability. um you know I yeah I guess that's about it.
So, let me ask you this right quick, then, before I answer that. When you're first starting a relationship, are you the type of person where you give points or you take away points? Meaning, when they do something good, you give them points. If they're doing something bad, you take away points.
That's like treating them like a kindergartner.
Some people do it though. Some people do it,
I
honestly.
I don't I don't necessarily do that. Oh, let me rephrase that. I don't consciously do that,
Hmm.
but I do it. And what I mean by that, because I prefer not to argue or go back and forth with a person. Um, when it comes, like, whatever it is, and if it has to do with accountability, it's like I take a mental note of it,
Right.
right? And it's like it adds up, it adds up, and it adds up. And I may not say anything, or I may mention it in a roundabout way. You know what I'm talking about, but I'm not breaking it down. But you should know, because talking about something that occurred. So I make a mental note. I make a list, and then, unfortunately for me, and I will own this, I will be accountable for this action. Unfortunately, I let that list grow until I get fed the fuck up, and then I just let it go. I hold myself accountable for that because that is not the proper way to handle stuff. But I handle stuff like that because I just do not. I prefer not to argue and stuff like that. I just really prefer not to, because I think it's a stupid waste of time. But it's like, again, I can hold myself accountable for that aspect and lack of communication, because if you do something, I should not put it on the list. I should not add or deduct points. I should just address the situation as it is, and handle it that way. But no, not me. Not this guy.
All right, I'm gonna answer the first question first, and I'll get back to the second one. Um, I think the way you encourage accountability is leading by example. Um, One is when you fuck up, admit you fucking up. Now, whether that's on a large scale or a small scale,
Mm,
that that pretty much is on you. But again, you gotta lead by example. I think, at least for me as a man, I feel like I have to lead by example.
right.
Um, I just always let, my partner know that whatever's on your mind, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, let's talk about it. Because I feel like at least if you put it on the table, that means it's up for discussion. We can talk about it and we can work it out. But if
Mm,
you never place it on the table, then I'm playing or playing a guessing game.
mm-hmm.
So how can I hold again you accountable as well as myself accountable when both of us are fucking up at the same time?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think you have to just sometimes let the cards loose and let them fall where they may.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be pretty, but at least they're out there.
Yeah. That is true.
So going back to the points thing, I definitely think that I sometimes operate off of a point system, meaning for all the good things you do, I'll add points. For all the bad things you do, I don't necessarily take away points. I
Mm,
might add points
mm.
because the way I'm looking at it is I want to see is there a balance here.
True.
And if your good outweighs your bad, you are good. But when your bad outweigh your good, your ass got to go.
I feel you on that. I feel
But
you on that.
depending on what it is.
See,
Again, I
but
like to
hey,
add and
stop,
add,
stop,
but
stop,
sometimes I have to take away too.
stop, stop, stop. We look. We all have to get away from that. It depends on what it is thing. We all have to do that because not being accountable is not being accountable. It really doesn't matter big or small.
True.
Um, and we know growing up, we try shit, and if we're not held up accountable for our actions, we try more shit. And the more we get away with it, we try more dynamic and bigger shit. And it's like if we're not held accountable for it, we're gonna keep going until we just get into a situation that's just irreversible. And that goes for everybody out there. You know, sometimes you just want to push the envelope. And if you're not held accountable, you just keep pushing that motherfucker until the post office ain't working no more.
True.
So yeah, we gotta, overall we gotta get away from doing that because it's just crazy. Yeah.
That it
Um
is.
so does religion play a factor in your accountability?
No.
Okay.
And the reason I feel that is because there have been so many wrongs done in the or for the sake of religion. Meaning people have been killed, slaughtered, uh, properties have been taken because someone has it in their mind of saying, my God is better than your God or what you may believe in. So that gives me the right to take what doesn't belong to me or my kind because of our supposedly God.
Mm-hmm.
There have been so many injustices when it comes down to the human experience altogether. Meaning, for example, there are certain churches that still operate within our country where the priests have been um, caught molesting younger people.
Keep it with you, damn it. Don't go that far. Don't go that deep. Don't go
I'm
down the
just
rabbit
saying,
hole.
there are certain people or certain religious organizations that they're still getting away with that shit. Just keeping it 100. So I can't say that you can use religion as an scapegoat. I mean, if I was to go out here and commit a crime, I can't say, well, because of my religious faith, that's why I did it. No, I did that shit because that's what I wanted to do. You can't play with the devil and dance with the devil and then run behind God when, the roosters come home or the chickens come home to nest. You can't do it. So I don't think using religion as as an excuse is being accountable. You did whatever you want to do on your own accord. I'll leave it at that.
I ain't gonna go that damn deep. That's
Okay.
too deep for me. Um, that's way too deep for me. Um, does religion play a factor in my accountability? I will say no, and I say no because I know right and wrong without religion. I know how to be accountable for my actions without religion. I don't have to pray and read the Bible or whatever the case may be to be accountable for my actions. Um, because um, again, I know if I do something, I know I need to account for it. I don't need to sit there and be like, well, I flipped through the Bible and this verse said you need to be. No, I don't need to do all of that because I know if I do something and it affects someone else negatively, I know I did that. And I know getting down on my knees and praying is not going to erase that. I have to come to that person or these people or come to terms with whatever situation and say to myself, I did that. I have to own it. Um, on the flip side of that, the reason why I feel like that is because when you observe people, regardless of what their religious devotion or whatever is, I hear a lot of them say, I'm not perfect or I'm a work in progress, and they relate that to religion. Now, again, I'm not going as deep down a rabbit hole as you,
All right.
but when I hear people say that, like you were saying, it's a scapegoat. It's like, you don't have to be perfect to be accountable. You know you did wrong. You know what you did. You know that whatever you did, own it. It ain't got nothing to do with a Bible or church or God or Jesus. It has nothing to do with that to me. That's just my opinion. You know what you did. So just own it. Um, but yeah, it's too many people out there who cling to faith and this, that, and the other, and they know stuff that they're doing is dead ass wrong. And again, I hate when people say, "Well, I'm not perfect. I'm not meant to be perfect." It's not about you being perfect. It's about you owning your bullshit. Period. Flat out. Is there's no way to dig into that, and there's no scientific study needed for that. There's no congregation needed for that. That's where I'm at with that part.
All right. I mean, that's basically what it is. Again, you can't use religion um, as your scapegoat. You can't throw rocks and then run into the glass house. That don't make any sense.
People
You
just use that
can't
as a
be
get out
out
of
there
jail
doing
free
your
card.
dirt and saying, "Well, I did this because, I heard a voice in my head that said I need to do this, and I
Hmm.
felt like that voice was God."
That voice
What?
was your goddamn brain. That was your brain. Like
Exactly. Like
seriously.
that was all you, bro. That was all you and what you got going on.
Yeah.
So when I hear people use religion as an excuse to get out of the wrongs they've done, I just you just got issues, bro. There is no way around it. Don't tell me, you know, who or what you worship made you do it.
or
Mm-mm.
excuses you from accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I don't see a puff of air coming out and forming into a life force and saying, you need to be accountable for what you did. Nah,
Yeah, there are definitely no burning bushes, as they say.
right. Ain't no snake gonna be like, you know, you was wrong. Like, get out of here. Nah, no. Matter of fact, you knew you were doing something that you need to be accountable for when you thought about doing it. I mean, if it was something bad, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the thing. People typically know when they're doing something wrong, and it's like you need to reconcile that in your heart and your mind, because your actions are your actions. You have free will. Free will. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah.
So, at what age do we take personal accountability? Or what age do personal accountability become important?
I don't know. I'm going to say for me, it wasn't really like it really wasn't important until maybe my early 30s. Um, and it's not like I was just out there wild, but I wasn't at my full potential. So I got to a point where I said I need to sit my ass back and like really check myself. Um, because let me see, it's 2022 now. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, because I was going into my third marriage at the around well during that time frame I was going into my third marriage, and I
Hmm.
was making a lot of decisions and not holding myself accountable for them. And it's not that I was blaming anyone, I just wasn't holding myself accountable for my decisions. So throughout that experience, that period, um I had to really look at myself and be like, yo, start making decisions that are beneficial to you. Be accountable for the decisions that you made that got you to where you are, and just do better. And that's more of the time period where it came to me that um, a lot of this bullshit that I was going through, it was because I was making piss poor ass decisions or not making the necessary decisions that I needed to make. I just wasn't being accountable all around. So when I started being accountable, what I experienced and learned, what a lot of people try to stay away from is there is a rough patch to where you're going to transition from not being accountable to making the necessary changes to smooth shit out more than what it was. But again, that comes with you being accountable. Then you get to the point where you can sit back and be like, yo, as long as I am accountable for everything that has an effect on me and other people, I can sleep better at night. Because yeah, I mean, when you're young, sometimes you just don't conceptualize that stuff. It doesn't sink in. But yeah, I would have to say in my mid to late 30s, I started getting a goddamn clue.
I had to say for me, for that answer is whatever age um, you become aware of your own truth. Um, and I say that simply because there are people way older than you and I that are still doing the same bullshit.
Hmm.
Like they still refuse to take accountability for their own actions. Again, it's everybody's fault but theirs. And then there are some people who, are way younger but their maturity level um, has them at a place where they're accountable for their own actions. Like I've met some very intelligent young people who, know not only know the difference between right and wrong, but they utilize wisdom. Like one of those people you find like, dang, he young, but he got old soul. Or, she young, but she got old soul. So I would say that, whatever age you become aware of your own truth or aware of your own BS or whatever it is, when you become aware of that, that's when you learn how to take accountability for your actions.
But what about you specifically? At what age?
Me specifically, I think I was around about 25, 25, 26.
Mm.
And I still remember it very vaguely, you know what I'm saying? I was driving home from work and it just hit me some of the bullshit I was doing at that time. I was like, damn, that's real fucked up. And it just let me know that, this wasn't the direction I want to go in with my life. I called my mom and told her how much I appreciated all the lessons she hadn't taught me at that point, her and my dad. And it was just one of those things where I felt like, if you don't change your ways or change what you're doing, man, ain't no telling where you're gonna be in another 5 years or 3 years.
Mm.
So that's when I made a change in my life and start taking responsibility for my own actions. I
Do you
just stopped
think?
the
Go ahead.
same bullshit I was doing.
Do you think that do you think at that young age you became 100% accountable for yourself, or were you on a trajectory to be more accountable?
I think it was one of those things where I was on a trajectory
Okay.
of starting to come into that phase of knowing, that if I can't take accountability for my actions now, then I'm going to stay on this path and it's only going to lead to more destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it wasn't that I was a very, not a responsible person. It's just that some things in my life, I I was on some real bullshit. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning how I handled some relationships in my life at that point.
Right.
So um, I don't know. It's almost like I grew up after a thought
Mm.
of saying, you need to really check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because at that point, I could have really hurt a lot of people.
Mm.
Hurt a lot of people, man, because of the bullshit I was doing at that time.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. At that age, I was not thinking about goddamn accountability. Um, 24, 25, 26. Yeah. I was I think I was at I don't want to say a low point. I think I was at my the height of my ignorance at that
Hmm.
point, where I was just doing a lot of dumb shit and I wasn't holding myself accountable for nothing. I wasn't blaming anybody, so to
Right.
speak. Um I think at that age, myself, I wasn't looking at progression and maturity on a grand scheme. Like I had it in me, but I just wasn't in that place. But you know, like I said, like 10, 15 years ago, I mean, I was always on a trajectory, but 10, 15 years ago, it was like, yeah, I am at that point where it's like, yo, it's really, really time to get my head wrapped around getting my shit together. And I give a lot of thanks to the people around me who were not holding themselves accountable for a lot of things that they were doing, because I can look at myself now and look at some of them people, and I'm like, I'm glad I screwed my goddamn head on, because some people is just too far gone in their bullshit and lack of accountability, and they're not progressing to where they should be or need to be, especially at the age that we're at, damn near 50. It's just crazy. And to still hear them to this day say the same things that they were saying 20 years ago, it's crazy to me. And it's like, you really have to sit back and take accountability for all of your actions that you did now that are still causing you to make the same damn excuses and not be accountable today. And I said to myself, I cannot live like that. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of like a slap across the face
Mm,
because it hit me like just like that.
right.
Like, damn, really? Again, it was one of those self check moments.
Oh yeah, all day. All day.
So
Yeah. But
I'm just grateful that I was able to come to that realization that a change was necessary.
you know what? Right. And that's the thing with growth. You just got to be able to go to that point. And if you can't get to that point on your own, then that's a problem, because that just shows that you have no ability to grow. Um and I feel sorry for people like that. I really do feel sorry for them. Cuz it's like, yo, at what point it's like, and some of these people, they have so much potential, and it's just like, if you just be a little bit more accountable for your shit, you can go that much further. But it ain't for me to worry about, because I ain't trying to have a heart attack worrying about nobody else's lack of accountability. So to the
Yeah,
curb with them.
it's kind of crazy. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and we are talking about a young man we both know. Dude is 23 years old with 6 kids. Four of them are
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
his.
You
Two of
said
them
what?
are by his baby's mama, who was pregnant at the time. But I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things we try to tell him, that the road he's on, you're going to end up broke before you know it. You can't keep having these kids, man, thinking that it's going to be all right, meaning
Mm,
they're not going to put child support on you, or, you know, you're going to have to take care of these kids. And I know for a fact, at least to
mm,
me, it seemed like the young man, he loves his kids. He does the from what I've seen, the best he can. But
mm,
at the end of the day, when you got 4 kids, well,
mm,
3 here in the world and 1 on the way, and then the person you're having, this current child with,
mm.
they already got 2. That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a
Bruh.
lot of pressure. That's a lot of mouths to feed.
Bruh.
And it's kind of like we're trying to get him to see, man, you're gonna have to slow your roll. And
Mm.
evidently our talks were futile because they went absolutely nowhere with him.
Damn it,
So now
man.
he's gonna have to face the rest of his life. I think the oldest child, I want to say maybe 6 or 7, somewhere around there.
Mm.
I know definitely not over 10. I know that much, but that's a lot of pressure, man. Again, I'm not talking bad about the young man. I'm just simply saying, yeah, you might want to put your raincoat on there, but
See, And that's another thing about accountability. When it came to that, I have two by two different people. And that was the beginning thought of my accountability when it came to that aspect of my life. Because I said to myself, I do not want to have a third child by yet a third person if it should happen to fall that way. So, you know, being accountable for my actions at 32, I got that vasectomy. Um, I didn't plan on having a second child. I mean, shit, to me, 32 is for me, 32 is a little old to be having a second child, especially when your first child was born when you was 19, 20, no, 20 years old. Like, come on, man. My second child was born 12 years after my first. Um, I accountability. I just don't see how you just laying up in these women and having all these kids that you cannot take care of physically, mentally, or emotionally, or financially.
Yeah.
Accountability, and then they want to sit back and blame the women. It's like, bro,
Shooting up the club, man.
you
Shooting up the
shot
club.
you shot the club, you painted the club, you decorated the club. You did that. You
Yeah.
can't blame this woman for keeping it because had you not put it in there, it wouldn't even be a conversation.
Nope.
And for a lot of these young jokers out there or older jokers who do that, and it's like I don't understand your anger. Like you did that. You made a choice to do that. Nobody forced you to do that. It felt good. It felt good for you to keep running up in that, and you did not take accountability for your actions. So that's what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of them things, man. One of them things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything else on your mind?
Uh, y'all make sure you guys stay tuned for the Purple Gala. Um, as of right now, we know that the tickets, if memory serves me correctly, they are on sale now, right?
I'm not sure, but there is a.
I want to say they're either on sale or they're coming up close to being on sale. So you guys be on the lookout for that because your boys are definitely going to be in the house um, doing our thing for the Purple Gala. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to post more information about that.
Um, they did put out a flyer. Let me see if I could find it. Found it. Um, 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 um. Wait, matter of fact, let me see if I could pull it up.
Now stay tuned. We're trying to look up a little more information about it.
Yeah, because they got a keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to throw that up there right quick. Let me find it. It's right here. All right, let me see. Where is my? There it is. There it is. Purple Gala, and the keynote speaker is Centonia Brown Long. She is an actress, and she's actually on a Netflix show. I forgot the name of it, but she's going to be the keynote speaker at the Purple Gala. So where is it? Anyway, if you want more information on the Purple Gala, go to Eventbrite, and as you can see, search Purple Gala on Eventbrite. You can also on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok, and all of that other stuff. Go to She Did That Community Advocate Foundation or She Did That Events. The host of that is Tina Torres. She is a military brat. But yeah, this is going to be the 7th annual Purple Gala, so definitely definitely check that out. It's going to be a great event. It's for a great cause: domestic violence, intimate partner abuse, and that's that. Yeah, yeah. So we definitely looking forward to that. I was trying to find out what the name of the show was that she was on, but I couldn't find it.
Mhm.
But yeah, we will be down there, and we should be going live while we're down there. So
Yep.
definitely check that out.
Oh yeah, and you guys check out my boy Soul Toucher. He got 3 books with a 4th one on the way.
Yeah. I'm diligently lacking working on that, but I'm working on it.
That's what's up. So you guys
Yeah.
make sure you check out the books he's put out. Um, Again, my boy is dope. He's a hell of a writer. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother. I'm just saying that because he's a hell of a writer. So you guys check out his books. And again, we got some other things going on. But more word on that when they actually take Stone.
Right. Look, boy, life is hard out here.
I'm trying to tell you, boy.
Man.
So
Oh
again, we're
man.
on all of your major podcast platforms. Again, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. We out here.
TikTok. You on TikTok too. We need to get some TikTok videos out there. I'm not a big TikTok person, but we got to get them out there.
For sure.
Um, yeah. Other than that, yeah, I still have not finished editing the last podcast episode that the one before that. The last one we did, the audio was trash.
Yeah.
My audio was trash. Yeah.
We updating. We updating.
Yeah,
It's all good.
but hey, it's a work in progress. But we
Yes,
out here
sir.
grinding. We have plenty of content out there for y'all. Um, several several YouTube videos, several pre-recorded episodes. So go check us out. We would love to get y'all feedback on those previous episodes. We would love to revisit some of those topics. Because yeah, we like to get some difference of opinion, and like Sun Solex says, hit us up. We definitely like to have um, guests on our show. We like to interview people, just get different perspectives and stuff like that, and network and stuff like that. I mean, that's what it is out here. We got to network and pull it together.
For sure. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in and
We out.
peace.